All right, y'all. Welcome back to another episode of Beyond the Flow Live, where it's real talk, real conversation, real healing, talking about that real change and what's all happening, y'all. It's your healthy habits and lifestyle coach, Giovanni, host of the Empire Plates, Empire Lives podcast, also the visionary behind Four Vibrations. And I'm here with
Destini Marie, President and Executive Director of Black Men Feel Pain Too.
Yes. So, y'all, we're just going to jump right into our icebreaker. And the question is, who were you before pain became part of your personality? Who were you before pain became part of your personality? And do you feel like she's still in there? That is the question. I'm going to type it up so we can put it on the screen. Destini Marie, who were you before pain became?
Honestly, I don't even know. That sounds crazy, but honestly, I don't even know. And I feel like the reason why I don't know is because of my current life situation of me building this relationship with God and me like trying to fall in love with myself and figure out who I am. And I feel like that's the reason why I don't know. I feel as though there's definitely a shift personality wise when we talk about um like before my diagnosis, I wasn't very much so proactive with my health and my symptoms and paying attention to my triggers and being just as health conscious as I am now post diagnosis. But to compare myself now to, I guess, my high school or college year self, that's kind of up in the air. But I just feel like that contributes to where I'm currently at and my mental state as of today, right now, I'm present.
I like that. And I appreciate you for sharing that. For me, um who were you before pain became part of your personality? I feel like I was someone who wasn't as aware.
Mm-hmm.
I wasn't living with as much intention. I didn't prioritize myself, my well-being. I put other people and other things before me, other roles, identities, titles, all of those things. I put those prior to, like, who am I? How am I caring for myself? How am I loving for myself? Um, just a lot of different things. People pleasing, lack of boundaries, just out here, man, just living. And I think just in what I call now just survival mode. I feel like that's who I was before pain really became something that I had to create purpose from.
Yeah.
And do I feel like she's still in there? I feel like she's in there very little. I think every single day that I'm more aware of myself, that I care about myself, that I love myself, I'm learning self leadership, I'm turning my pain into purpose. I am really out here, really initiating a movement
Yeah.
around pain not being normal and what life could really look like if we changed our identity and shifted our mindset and changed the way we are living. I feel like I take a step further and further away from her the more I embrace this journey. So is she still in there? Very so slightly, but it's been years of working and walking towards a different vibe, a different life, that I truly believe is leaving her behind in a different direction. So I think that's just where it is for me. And then y'all let us know in the
Yeah.
comments, check in with us. Who were you before pain became part of your personality? And do you feel like she's still in there?
I don't feel as though my personality has changed. I don't feel like my personality has changed. I'm I feel as though as I've gotten older, I've always been quiet and reserved and I've kept to myself. But I think as I've gotten older and definitely post diagnosis, I've honed in on that a lot more just simply because of the pain. And then you just never know what the conversation is going to look like when you disclose to whether it's a partner or it's a platonic relationship or if it's a girlfriend or if it's a coworker. You never know how the conversation is going to go when you tell somebody that you have endometriosis. So I don't feel like my personality has changed, but I definitely feel like I am just a little bit more reserved and more quiet. But I definitely think that she's that old girl pre-diagnosis is still somewhere in here, but we're just probably like on different ends of the spectrum.
And that's a beautiful thing to be on two different ends of the
Yeah,
spectrum. But I agree with you. Like sometimes when you tell people about a chronic condition or illness or the state that your body is currently in right now, it can be overwhelming and it can be hard to break down to be understood very well.
mhm,
But at the same time, you're still navigating that. Like
right,
what endometriosis, adenomyosis, polycystic ovarian syndrome, fibroids, all of those things look like, it changes from day to day. It might not be the same thing every single thing. So like you're still wrapping your mind around your
right.
reality and what's happening as well. And that changes and shifts personalities, but might as well as moods. Crystal with the K 601 says carefree back then, more mindful now. And she's still in there, and I let her
I
out
let her out sometimes.
sometimes. Might be on that whole different spectrum, whenever she wants to tap in. So I thought this was a really good icebreaker, Destiny Marie. I don't know if anyone else, I don't see any other
Mm-mm.
comments. But
No.
I thought it was a really good one because today we're really talking about like reclaiming your identity beyond pain, because so much of the pain, it really almost sometimes overwhelms our life and controls our life and the things that we have going on. But it's also that pressure to still be strong and be that caregiver. If you're a mom, if you're a daughter, if you're a teacher, if you have all these different roles, it's almost at a point where you're allowing those roles to
Mhm.
um I don't want to say Trump, but I can't think of the other word. But it
Prioritize.
trumps all there you go, prioritizing yourself. And I feel like a lot of times that's what happens. Do you find yourself prioritizing other people, other things, other roles over you, despite what you have to navigate yourself when it comes to the pain, the pelvic pain, the endometriosis, the heavy periods, the bloating, the fatigue, all the things?
Yeah, sometimes, not all the times. I may not show up because some roles we can't get out of, and they just are what they are. I just may not show up 100%. You're not getting full capacity because I'm not able to take on as much as I can on a good day. So if I'm having a bad flare, because right now I'm in my luteal phase, so my period technically was supposed to start yesterday. So literally, I'm just waiting for the ball to drop. And I've been having a lot of pain over these last like 2 weeks. And so sometimes it's just me not showing up as present as I normally could given my situations. But I definitely try now to prioritize myself, my health, make sure I take that moment to slow down if I need to slow down, and definitely saying no if I'm unable to do something.
And I think we talked about that too, that power of saying no. We talked about
Mhm.
too, that having that support system. And I think all of those things are highly valuable. And it's really grieving who you used to be,
Right.
prior to the pain, giving yourself grace and compassion to navigate this journey now that you know what's happening on the inside of your body and the state of what your body's in at this particular point in time, because that too changes, and that has the possibility to change as well. But I just feel like that was a big thing, is grieving who you used to be, but then being so mindful of who you are right now. Has that
Right.
really grown? What does that look like in regards to your identity? And then are there any shifts in your career or relationships? Your femininity, are some of those things tied into that identity when it comes to identity loss or chronic illness, pelvic pain? Do you feel like things are changing and shifting with you when it comes to like your careers or the types of jobs that are more aligned with what it is that you feel like you can show up as?
I don't think it's changed my career path. Because even in the midst of pain and like just looking back on all the years, I've still remained in the same career field. What I will say though is I refuse to be at a job that's going to stress me out. I just
Mm,
absolutely refuse to do that. Because remaining in a job that's adding stress onto a body that's already inflamed at the drop of a dime, I no, that's what I refuse to do. But I definitely don't think it's changed like my career path and the type of jobs that I would apply for within my degree field and my career path. But I'm not going to stay somewhere that's causing me stress. I'm not going to do that.
and I feel like that's what really caused me to really go into understanding what my body was dealing with, that led to the stage 4 endometriosis diagnosis, was the job stress. It was the job stress, it was the relationship stress. But I feel like the job stress is what took it all the way over to the top. Not quite sure, because not all of my job environments played that huge part. But the last one I was in, when my pelvic pain just, almost cost me my life while driving, that job right there, that school, that placement was enough for me to be like, okay, this isn't it. And now that I know that, I realize that if I'm in a place that doesn't serve me, that stresses me out, causes anxiety,
Mhm.
doesn't truly support me in the role that I'm in and I'm valued, and if I have to fight to really get things done, then I realized that, okay, it might be time for a change. It might be something I
Mhm.
need to reconsider. Or is there any adjustments that I can make to help this environment be more conducive to my health? And I think that's a big thing when it comes to job stress, work environments. Like, that plays a huge role. And I think we don't give enough credit to stress and sleep when it comes to our body and the way it heals. Crystal with the K 601 said, amen to refusing and being willing to walk away from a stressful,
Re-
replaceable. Come
Heavy
on, heavy
emphasis.
on the replaceable.
Heavy emphasis, because they gonna replace me just like I'm gonna replace them. So, bye. Next, yeah.
I think that was a good one. Something else I kind of wanted us to hit on was, how do we redefine strength and our vitality? What does that really look like when it comes to regaining our strength back, or redefining what strength really looks like, knowing that pain sometimes has a way of having more days taken from us than we would like,
Mhm.
based on our productivity, our energy levels. So, what does it look like to redefine strength versus just pushing through pain?
I think boundaries kinda for me is the word that I would use to answer this question, because with these boundaries comes saying no. With these boundaries comes being self-aware of self. With these boundaries come knowing and prioritizing health and being proactive with symptoms and triggers and navigating, flare-ups and bad days. So implementing these boundaries on whatever area of our lives definitely to me would be me reclaiming my strength back after knowing that endometriosis takes so much out of me. Because like we just said, I can't show up 100% of all of these roles that I am a part of. I can't always be at 100% capacity. And that's where those boundaries come in. I can't show up 100%. I may be able to give you 30% today, and that's really just all that's just it. I can't do no more. I can probably do a lot less, but I can't do no more. And there's literally nothing that I can do about it. There's nothing that I can do about it. So definitely boundaries is my answer for that.
I think for me, when it comes to strength, and I love that you hit on boundaries, and we talked about that, and that is so
Mhm.
important. And it wasn't until after my diagnosis that I even learned what real boundaries are and the importance of it all, and did a whole deep dive in a book. I did a lot of self development after my diagnosis, because it was just like, I got to get my mind together. I got to get my
Yeah.
life together after all of this, because I didn't want to get lost. Something that stood out for me, I would say my one word to this as redefining strength would be alignment. And it's
Yeah.
really finding alignment in the work that I'm doing, the roles that I have, the relationships that I'm in, just really getting in alignment and what really aligns with you and what doesn't really align with you. And for someone like me who grew up as like a people pleaser and lack boundaries, it's really navigating those internal conversations and even sometimes having external conversations with my support system to really understand, okay, is this an alignment of who I am, what I want, how I want to be treated, or does this not really align with who I think I am, who I know I am, who I believe I am, who I'm becoming? And I think alignment plays a huge part when it comes to redefining your strength, because you have to get to know who you are. And
Yeah.
sometimes that shifts your thoughts, your feelings, your beliefs, your behaviors, your lifestyle, how you're living, the different decisions that you make. And all of that to me goes with alignment. How you're eating, how you're moving. If you're not, the relationships you choose to take part in, people you interact with, like all of that to me, I feel like alignment goes back into pushing through pain, because pain is information. And so if you're feeling the pain and you're going through all of these different things and your body's communicating to you, whether it's whispering or yelling and screaming on that day, it's like, how do I, one, like you said, identify what boundaries are not put in place for me to even show up to take care of me? Or two, what is out of alignment that I need to get in alignment with to better help myself, to better love myself, care for myself, and lead myself through this thing called life, one moment at a time, let alone one day. And I think that was something that I really feel like was important. But I just want to check. Do you see any comments in regards to that one? Redefining
No,
strength for anyone?
no, nobody on TikTok.
All right. I think that was really big. But those are the two of the main things I really want to talk about in regards to identity, was really the identity loss, who you
Right.
used to be to who you are now, and then redefining that strength and what it looks like to be a higher version of yourself, and letting go of, just performance based worth or what you thought life should be, and really creating life around what it really is and what it really looks like for you based on everything that you're experiencing, and being real with it. Because healing isn't becoming who you were, it's becoming who you are now through awareness, through boundary setting, with alignment. And I think that's really important.
Yeah, I wholeheartedly agree. I think there's definitely an identity change. One, it's like three of them all back to back to back. It's three of them right before you get your diagnosis. You have the identity of when you get your diagnosis, and then you have the identity of post diagnosis. And those are all three different versions of yourself. And even that post identity definitely still goes through phases and cycles, and you still change because our bodies are always changing and evolving. Endo symptoms, endometriosis is a progressive disease. So you may have gotten diagnosed at stage 1, but now you're stage 3, and now you're having different symptoms and things are happening. So I feel like just being aware, number one, of self, whether that's just emotionally and or physically, and then also implementing those boundaries. So whatever roles that you are a part of, just show up with whatever capacity that you can. And it's also about not worrying about others and how they feel and their opinions and their thoughts of the days that you can't show up as 100%, because only somebody else with endometriosis is really truly going to understand 100%, what another endo warrior goes through. Just a regular person off the street may not totally wholeheartedly understand and agree. So you can't always worry about that, because I know the pain that we go through. I know the painful experiences that I go through. And if I were to sit and think about how this affects everybody else and what everybody else is thinking about me every single time that I'm having a flare up or I'm in pain or I'm having a bad day, all that's going to do is just contribute to my pain and my stress.
Agree. I love that you talked about all the different identities that you kind of navigate through pre-diagnosis, when you get diagnosed, after the diagnosis, as you continue on your healing journey, as you're advocating for yourself and making different adjustments, as you become more self-aware and you're understanding yourself, you're able to advocate and make those changes. I think that's really important. And then even when it comes to endometriosis, adenomyosis, even when I first got diagnosed, looking at some of the experiences that other people were experiencing, I wasn't experiencing those. So even in those, opportunities, and you're still getting to know more about what this could look like for you, what it does look like for other people versus what your own personal experience it is, because it almost seems like nobody has like the same exact experience,
Mm-hmm.
because it's such a whole body condition, that varies, because the body is just so complex and so unique. And so I really like that you talked about those different identities, but most importantly, being self-aware so you can really understand what's going on, and just not being in denial. I think that's a huge thing
Yeah.
too, Destiny Marie. When you're in denial, you're unable to truly embrace and figure out a way to move forward, honestly, like whole body, mind, body, soul, spirit, with moving forward. If you're only choosing to, kind of put some of it to the side and then be okay with this aspect of it, and then you're slightly moving, it's not all in. And I feel like sometimes we need to give ourselves permission to be all in on the healing, and be okay with giving ourselves permission to take on a new identity that's going to serve a higher cause or a higher being of ourselves, because we deserve that version of us that we haven't experienced just quite yet. And I think sometimes we just need to give ourselves that permission. And I
Yeah.
feel like that's the only thing that's holding some people back from really moving forward, to getting that strength back from pain and losing themselves within all of the things that they're going through, because what they're going through is definitely real.
Right.
And so I'm grateful for that. Well,
Yeah.
that's really all I had. Destiny Marie, did you have anything else you wanted to share?
No, ma'am.
Well, y'all, you are not your diagnosis,
I'm
okay? You
telling
are
you.
a woman navigating a body that deserves support. Your love, your kindness, your advocacy, but most importantly, it deserves support in whatever way you choose to get it. Give yourself that permission. Destiny, we're gonna let everybody know where they can find you, what they can check all out in the show notes.
Yes. So you can find our official website at www.blackwomenfeelpain2.com. You can visit our website. We have symptom trackers, coloring sheets, a ton of blog posts, period product recommendations. We have a whole lot of information on our website. And then all social media accounts are at Black Women Feel Pain 2. And then especially this week, we are celebrating 4 years of service. So our anniversary is on Friday. So we're doing a ton of fun activities this week. So today, for example, we're giving away a free menstruation talk workshop. So follow us on all of our platforms, Instagram, Facebook, and TikTok, to stay connected and hopefully win something this week, because we're giving away free items, discounts. We're releasing new merchandise. And then on Saturday, we have a subscriber exclusive day. So if you subscribe to the website, then you get a special treat on Saturday. So this is a big week for Black Men Feel Pain too. So if you watch Beyond the Flow before and you've never been to my website, honey, this is the week to go to the website.
I like it. Y'all check it out in the show notes. All things Destiny Marie is linked in the show notes. Congratulations to 4 years of service and
Thank
purpose. Still
you.
at all. Let's go with a week full of opportunities to really engage and be empowered, but most importantly, heal. Y'all, it's
Yeah.
Healthy Habits and Lifestyle Coach Giovanni. I want you to go over to forwardvibrations.me. Check the show notes for the website. Go take your Spot Your Triggers quiz. I want you to identify where in your life, where in your lifestyle, where in your habits that's happening every single day that you can go ahead and start making a change. And then you can book your healing breakthrough session, and we can talk about that first step that you're going to take that's going to help you break out of survival mode. And so I want you to go over to forwardvibrations.me, check it all out. Make sure that you subscribe to the YouTube channel, it's Wellness with Giovanni. And then make sure on your favorite podcast distribution platform that you're checking out the Empower Plates, Empower Empowered Lives podcast, your healing hub to get all things about your healing journey. Be empowered, but most importantly, go take the ownership of your healing journey, y'all. It's your healthy habits and lifestyle coach, Giovanni. Thanks for vibing with us, y'all.
Good night.